How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious, and I'm joined by a new fantastic friend, DrDeez. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. The man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate it, Fasti.
I appreciate you being here, and I think we're popping your collab cherry right now.
You are. And we're going pop it good.
We are going to pop it good because in your honor, you requested, we're doing, if it's not clear from the thumbnail and the title and everything you see right now, we are doing a Demon Soldiers attack offense weapon tier list. And by your request, the S plus God tier, they're called the Booty Clappers.
Yes, sir. Gotta have the booty clappers for the top tier.
So it's not just your booty getting clapped in this video. We're going to find out who the best ones are. All right, so I think it's kind of clear what we're doing. Maybe I'll do a very brief intro. So I've known of you forever, but we only just became friends like a week ago. You had that really cool idea to do the pack giveaway, and I was like, this guy's awesome. I gave you a big shout out, and I did the same thing. People really seemed to like it, and we started talking, and you were saying, what if we did a collab? And I said, freaking heck yeah. I always knew you because you got really hype summon videos, which people should absolutely check out. But then you sent me some of your guides, and like your Eris guide, super duper good. I was really impressed, and you suggested this. You said, why not let's do some Demon Soldiers, right?
Yeah. And hey, that shout out you gave me, I think I gained like, I don't know, maybe 600 subscribers from it. So you're the man. You're a legend for that, bro. You're a legend for that.
Well, it's easy to get people hyped up about someone. I was like, hey, he's giving away his $70 pack. Go check him out.
That is true.
All right. Well, guys, if you don't follow Deez, if you don't subscribe to him, check him out on Twitch and YouTube. I'll have the links below and in the top pinned comment. But this is all about those demons, baby.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
So without further ado, let's kick it off. I had to make some of these crops myself. It kind of sucks. On the creator asset folder, they didn't have all of them, so I hope they look good. I loaded them in. I think it's alphabetical, I'm guessing, because we've got Adag's follower first. We've got the White Tower's scholar last. So let's just do it A to Z. First off, we have got the Adag's follower. With each one, I'll pull it up in the Demon Soldier gallery so we can both reacquaint ourselves and so the viewers know who we're talking about. This guy's pretty new. I think he might have been a season exclusive a couple seasons ago. He's supposed to be a support Demon Soldier. If you look at the skill over here, his basic attacks do something called Deep Cut, which allows targets to take extra true damage. So the idea is you're going to throw a bunch of low-cost Demon Soldiers out there. They're going to hit, and it's proccing all this true damage. In reality, though, what's it like for you, Deez? Do you like this guy at all?
So with the Adags, it's when they first released him, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh man, this guy seems like he's got a nasty kit. Let's go ahead and test him out. I kept testing him out and trying to make him work, and I'm not gonna lie, this guy was absolute garbage. Like I couldn't really get anything out of him because he's supposed to be good with low cost heroes, maybe a swarm, right? But everything just dies, including him.
I like hard agree. I barely tested him because I tried him like twice against like friendlies, and he just dies. So yeah. It just doesn't make sense. So it seems cool, right? He's got this like constant Dolores range thing, and you're like, oh wait, so then that's a big range. You get a bunch of dogs in there and necros, or you throw the double blue tanks or something, and they keep proccing true damage. But he dies, so then the support's gone. So I think he's like legitimately awful.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, like C on an HP and C on defense, A on magic res, I guess, but I guess it could maybe work against a really special magic defense. But magic, when the defense is with magic DPS, I never see anyone using him. I never use him. You never use him. It's only one quantity. I think, do we christen our list by throwing him in the other tier you named, straight trash?
I think that's a good spot for him.
Okay. Thankfully, we're on to the Axe Boys, the Axe Slaughterers, which I'll pull up now. So we're not going to be in straight trash for the whole start of the video. I won't overplay my hand here, but I think we both can agree to different extents or to some degree. These guys are freaking awesome. They're 6 costs or 6 energy, they call it. You'd put out 2 at a time. They absolutely slap with some of the highest attack in the game. Really, really good physical damage. Kind of focused against fighters, but you can also totally destroy tanks with them. These guys are really cool. When you get them level 5, which I've unlocked, where is it here? You get 15% improved attack. You can also farm them fairly easily because they're in everyone's favorite gear aid 3. What do you think of the Axe Boys?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. With the Axe Boys, because of how good their damage is, I had to put them in the S plus, was that booty clapper?
You say, what is that, as if you didn't name it? we were
We got the
pitching
booty clapper out of
we were pitching video ideas back and forth, and you're like, I got one requirement. If we do a tier list, S plus is the
Yes,
god
sir.
tier booty clappers.
Absolutely.
So maybe talk to me. Maybe it's going to come down to how we define S plus. I actually have them in S. I think anyone that has them less than S, you're using them wrong, or just you got to grind it out for level 5. But they're even so good. But I had them level 4 forever. Level 5 just takes a whole nother level. Why do you think they're like the total cream of the crop? And maybe I'll explain why I don't exactly think that.
Okay, so I would say the only flaw with these guys is they cost 6. You know, that's a lot of cost, and you know, sometimes you can't get a full rotation in because of how much they cost. But if you can get, like, I don't know, a beefy tank out there, keep them alive, and then the axes come in, they're just going to do massive amount of damage. I mean, every single where my guild's at, I mean, we're just every single strategy you will see the axe guys in it. Almost every strategy. I mean, they're just that good.
I don't, yeah, it's hard to say. It basically comes down to how we're going to choose to define these tiers. I only had 2 in the top tier, but I'll tell you, Axelars were in my top 2 in the next tier. So I had to rank 4th out of every Demon Soldier. So I'm super high on them as well. I guess what the issue I have is the 6 cost can be kind of tricky. If you're up against a really high attack kind of team, with the B magic res, the B defense, they do occasionally die for me, but also I'm not the best with my affiliation, so that could also be why. Your guild's slightly higher than mine, and I know I see them used all the time. I've had a lot of success with them too. How about this, Dr. Deez? How would you personally define what S plus is? Like, when in your mind, what's the difference between S plus and S for this list?
So in my mind, when it comes to a S plus booty clapper, I'm thinking, like, especially where my guild's at right now, I'm thinking like the guys that are used the most, the guys that they just do a lot for your team with the demon soldiers, right?
Yeah, I think I agree. And actually, I think I've convinced myself that you're right, or you've convinced me that you're right. Like, I'm kind of coming to your side because I'm remembering when we were way worse at GVG in my guild, and even the guild I was in before this. Then I used the axe slaughters like every single attack. So I think they have a lower skill cap as well. So they do scale really well in the end game GVG, but I actually think they're probably some of the very best, like definitely top tier for the end. So let's start them in the booty clappers. We got our F tier done and our S plus tier done. Now we got someone that I'm sure will fall somewhere in between. This is the Bookkeeper. So very, very good, but very kind of like defense dependent, given the range on the ult. This is our first legendary DS that we're going to talk about today. You can see it's an AoE ranged magic damage dealing unit. He's great when like enemies are really clustered up. I hope I can click here. Do I have to go? Can they show me the range? Show me that range. They're not, maybe I can't. His range is like a cross. That's what I'm trying to do. So whoever his main target is, it's like right above, right below, to the right, to the left. So when people make the mistake of lining their stuff up and they're susceptible to magic damage, very cool unit. 5 energy costs, 1 deploy. Pretty nice stats, nothing crazy. What do you think, though, of the Bookkeepers? They're definitely a very high potential unit if it's going against the right kind of defense, right?
Correct. Kind of situational, but I will say this: when I first started with GVG, or when GVG first came out, the Bookkeepers was just absolutely overpowered. But as time has gone on, people have better defense strategies, and I they're just not as effective for me. But at the same time, there are certain strategies where I'm like, okay, we could get it done with the Bookkeepers. Because they do have a good amount of AoE damage, right?
Totally.
Or splash damage, I should say. Then I had them at the tier below. I had them at was that S tier, right below S plus?
Yeah.
Booty clapper. Yeah.
Okay, I had him at A. Obviously, we have a lot of tiers here. Let me explain why I have him at A. I actually agree with every point you make. So I think, again, it's coming down to the definition of the tiers. Basically, I had a very, very limited number into booty clappers. It was just the 2. So now probably we'll go to 4. I have an idea who I have at 3 and 4, so they're probably going to make it. I'm sure you've got them there too. Then I'm thinking S. These are people you can still use like almost all the time. Like in a war, if you've got 8 attacks, you're probably going to use them like at least 1 or 2, if not 3 or 4 or 5 plus times. I think nowadays people know how the Bookkeepers work. So if you don't have them stacking a tank behind a tank or a fighter behind a tank, or the tank and then just to the platform to the side, like in the tower map we have right now in season 6, people kind of know to do the diagonal trick, you know? Like if your Brokier's here, they're not going to put someone here or here. They're going there or there kind of situation.
Right.
So I just find like when you can use them, you can blow things up still, especially if you have good affiliation. I just feel like this great tier is like, it's like unbelievable, but situational. Whereas this is like a little more than situational. Does that make sense? Do you agree with that?
I will take back what I said. That is 100% true. I like that. I would definitely put him at A, especially because, I barely use him anymore.
That's only how I feel. I agree with you. Like maybe this was like season 3 or something, like several months ago. I was using them a ton. Maybe season 4.
A ton.
But because I think that the map, you kind of had to cluster your units, but now they keep letting us spread out and hit these diagonals. So yeah, I think A is basically like top tier, but situational, where S is like top tier, but lots of places, and then Booty Clappers is like, holy crap, let's get after it.
All right, yeah, I agree with that. A is a good spot for him.
Sweet. Now we've got the Carrion Hound, so not the main dogs we all love and we love so much, the Ghoul Hounds. We got the Carrion Hounds. These are the rare puppies on our first rare DS that we're talking about today. So let me pull them up very quickly. Here we go. You can see, not too hard to farm these guys. They drop in Gear Aid 3. We farm a lot of Gear Aid 3. I got these guys at level 8 over here. They're very, very fast. Incredibly fast. And you're going up to A. You can get the passive, which boosts it even more. A high quantity at 2, or I guess not base quantity, but it's not to the level of our Ghoul Hounds, where we're popping 3 per deploy. Very low cost, though. Only 3. So compared to the Ghoul Hounds, right, the epic version that I think everyone uses a ton, those cost 5 energy, so you got to wait till 10, then you double up, but you're getting 6. These you can pop it so quickly, but it's only 4 if you double them up, and only 2 for the single deploy. Where do you have the Carrion Hounds coming into your list?
So Carrion Hounds was, it was a little, because the main thing with them is that they are fast, right? And if you're doing a swarm strategy, they can get through. Biggest knockoff on them would be the fact that they can get one shot. They're really squishy, right? So with that being said, it was a little like, I'd probably, so I actually only had 4 tiers on my list. I had God tier, Booty Clapper, S tier, A tier, and then non-existent tier.
Okay.
so I think B would be a good spot for them, but I actually had them in A. Yeah.
I guess for anything you had that isn't lining up with this tier list, we can go like gut check, just looking at these names. What do we think? Right. I'll tell you, I had him in C. I also want to take this time to give a big shout out to my guild, Sins, and also my guild leader, specifically Hawkus, who really helped me polish off this list. He's really experienced with units like this that I don't use as much. Carrion Hound, though, I kind of like for one specific reason, but nothing else. That's why I don't have it higher than C. Like, they're great for like, oh, I think I'm going to swarm and beat it and then kill a tank. So then let me just send those dogs real quick. Just kind of like clean up duty. We got to make sure someone hits the portal once everything else is down. But you can't, like you said, you can't use them the way you use the Ghoul Hounds to swarm, because they're probably going to get one shot.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I had him in C. Yeah, with this title, some use, right? I feel like C is pretty good.
C is actually perfect. Okay, I'm gonna have to rearrange my stuff because there was just a huge drop off between A and non-existent tiers.
Well, so, we can do it on the fly. Don't worry. You can just we can gut check. I'll tell you my thing. You just see how it feels, right? Basically, I'll take you through it. So we kind of went through the top. Then B is like situational, but not as good as the A situational. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, like lesser versions. Like for this, I'll just tell you, this is where I'd have like the red archer guys, like the Soulbone Archers. Right. Still situational, but not situational and awesome to the level of like a bookkeeper. C's like, yeah, I'll use them here and there. I still do. D's like, I wouldn't use them, but technically they're not unusable. And then F is like dog water.
Yeah. Straight trash.
Well, speaking of not straight trash, once again, who is that but Maw? I don't think this is going to be a long discussion. We've got 2 Demon Lords in the game. Without, overplaying my hand, I think we'll agree Maw is the better of the 2. Maw is insane. I'm actually going to move myself over so people can keep reading the left over the shoulder over here. This unit has massive burst damage. It takes a while sometimes for him to rev it up, but when it happens, it ruins all of my defenses, and I hate him. It only starts to take effect after a while. So like you said, it takes a minute. Tons of stuff going on in this kit. I don't want to explain too much. He's immune to CC except for slow, which is unique to the demon captains. He's got cool range here with some bleed. You can get an extra deploy if you get the hero Maw to pair with the Demon Lord Maw. He's just phenomenal. I mean, best HP in the realm, tying for the top with like, I believe it's just him, the Axe Slaughters, and then the champion, the Scalekin champion. Crazy guy. Super high cost, but he's kind of worth it. He has so many strats built just around him. I think I know where you're going to have him, Deez. What are you thinking for Maw?
I mean, it's pretty right there in our face, right? He's going to be S plus booty clapper. The one thing that I will say about my guy Maul is, okay, so he doesn't get really good until you have the Fool, because they kind of go hand in hand together. Just because he costs 9, you know, you send him out. If you don't have the Fool, basically, if someone has a very, I mean, of course you're going to bait the ultimates, but if they could get their ultimates back fast enough, Maul might die before you even send out the next demon soldier. So that is the one thing that I will say about that. I think he is the top dog.
Yeah, I have him ranked number 1. I think he's the best. And, you know, it's funny. We just talked about this before we started filming. There was like that brief period where they kind of nerfed him and he was like unusable. But now he's just the god again. The Fool's crazy because the shields he puts out scales off of the target's max HP, and Maw has the highest HP of anyone. So it's just ridiculous. Because then you can like tank a Silas that's ulting, right? But without it, like you said, without the Fool, Silas will just delete him. Wukong, I'm sure, would be the same. So that is a good contingency to make, but that's not, it's not going to knock him off its throne. Just go farm.
Of course.
Yeah. The Fool is a drop now. He's exclusive for a minute, but you can get him from Gear A 2. Don't do Gear A 2 neglect, as I like to say. Hop on it. The Fool is awesome. Talk about him later. But yeah, Maw is it's so often, because I mean, maybe you have a similar thing, because I'm a content creator. People always seek out my defense on the when we're in Guild Wars, and they all use their Maws against me. I go like, how did I lose this time? It's Maw. So he's crazy. We got a pretty niche one here, which is weird to say because we're going back to back with our demon captains. This guy's hard to drop. I only just got him finished off. How far am I? I'm 3/40ths into my level up copy. This is our other demon captain. Nearly there. This is the Scalekin champion. Pretty unique. Team support, does kind of hit hard. Very, very tanky. You can see it can use this ability, which we'll discuss, Bloodthirst, to enhance allies. He's got moderate DPS, decent durability. Also crowd control immune, as all the captains are, just like Maw. You'll see that over here. The special thing, though, he's going to do that Bloodthirst effect and really revs up your melee units in terms of their damage. But this is why I find him clunky. I'm sure you're about to talk about it. He increases your damage taken for the periods when he does this ultimate. So first off, do you have the Scalekin champion? And then do you like the Scalekin champion?
So I'm just going off of what people have told me, and I don't have him. That's why. So just going off of what people have told me, the fact that he makes it to where everybody else dies quicker, but he does, from what they've told me, is he does have good survivability himself, where he stays alive for quite some time. But I honestly didn't really know where to rank this guy because I don't have any experience with him. He's the only demon soldier that I do not currently own. But from what people have been telling me, he'd probably be like maybe like a A tier, right around there.
I have him right in A tier. When I first got him, because I was stuck, because you got to get up to 20. I was stuck at like 19 forever. Like for like at least a month or something. And I finally got him and I was like, all right, we're going to stream it. I'm going to use this guy. And I lost a lot because I didn't know what I was doing. Basically what I found through more like friendly face-off testing now, he's really good against stall comps. So like if they're not throwing that much damage at you, but maybe they're stacking tanks, so they're just trying to make it take forever or be like impenetrable, he gives the juice you need to your melee units to get through, and like you get the kill with the Shadowcaster, you get the kill with the axe, and then you break up a stall comp. But if it's not a pure stall comp and they're throwing DPS at you, like your Necromancers are like dying, like whoever you're using, or if you're using double tanks, they're going to start dying because, it might not seem like much, but 12% more damage, I visually saw the difference. And then the other thing is very similar to Maw, like kind of doesn't die, kind of sits there. You can throw him out with a Fool, but Maw's damage is at a much different level. You can see they call it moderate DPS. Maybe it's better than moderate, but it's not Maw. It's not like basically the way it feels like with Maw, I think you'll agree. It's like, if you can survive this long, eventually he'll do a blast big enough that like Regulus dies or somehow Brokier dies, depending on the timing. So that doesn't happen with this guy.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, Maw, you just keep him up long enough, he's going to go ahead and delete everybody.
Yeah. So I could see certain maps making him meta, like if there's just not as much ways to throw DPS at you, especially AoE. But as it stands now, I think he's like, it needs to be a really perfect kind of thing you're going up against. All right, we got another rare here for you. I don't even know what these guys are called. I call them the Blue Archers. Let's see what the real name is. The Elite Skeleton Archer, of course. Physical damage, ranged, pretty basic stuff here. 3 quantity is pretty nice. So there's some cute stuff you can do with them for sure. Do you ever use these guys for some of your strats? Do you like them?
I used them when Guild Wars first kicked off. That's because I didn't really have that many demon soldiers. Outside of that, I've never. I mean, they're really squishy. The damage is just okay. You're going to use the elite archers over them. I think how much do the elite archers cost? Only one more, maybe. I think four.
I think.
Four
Well,
for
you
the
mean
elite.
the purples, right? It's
The purples,
confusing the
yeah.
titles. Yeah, the Soulbane or Soulbone. Yeah, these are the elite ones,
Correct.
and then they cost 3, I believe. Yeah, 3 energy, and then I think you're right. Where's our red boys? Yeah, these guys cost 4. So yeah, it's like one
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
more.
One
These are
cost
3.
more.
Those are 3 quantity. These are 1 quantity, but these guys kind of slap. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So with those guys, I would put in the probably in the F tier. I mean, you
Okay.
could maybe you could make a case for them in the D tier, but
That was
me
the case I
personally,
was about to make. So, like you said, you use them in the beginning, right? Like,
Mhm.
I think even in the beginning, you won't use Adag. If you just need a unit, you will use them. Like I use them on like my epics only account and stuff where I just like needed a ranged person. But if you have other options, you won't use them. So I think that's kind of D, right?
Correct,
Uh,
correct.
these are ones that I don't really use except for the occasional bait, but I see people use them constantly. So let's pull them up
Yeah.
now. Another rare, super popular, probably the second most popular rare, third most popular we've got. The Fallen Reaper, pretty high physical damage. They come at 2 quantity. You can easily double deploy for only 6 energy. And there are strats where you can kind of sneak in and just chomp chomp on a tank if they're not ready. What do you think of these guys?
Okay, so I had them in the A column, but keep in mind I only had 4 tiers, so I think maybe the B range on here would be good. Just because they're not someone that's going to I mean it's more of a bait thing, but they do if you could keep them alive long enough without them dying, they can do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, I have them right in B too. I think it's like, yeah, the definition of like a little more specific, but still works in the right situation.
Yeah.
Like I think of if they're trying to get their Carnelian dots out really fast, you can like insta get these 2 out, and if they're strong enough, they'll get a kill. And if it's brokier, they might at least take a huge chunk off, or maybe even trigger. You know, if you do it on those top, I've seen the high end guys when they have crazy affiliation, they can like at least trigger the freeze and waste brokier's passive right out of the gate. So that's something. I think B feels right.
I didn't even think of that. You know, next time I go against Carnelian, I'll go ahead and give that a little shot.
Yeah, it's if you're gonna get the DPS a ton right out the gate, because like she will
Correct.
start getting slow heals eventually. Doesn't work for me. Again, a lot of these things I like hear about or see, or Hawk has told me, but for me, it's I can't make a lot of this stuff cook. My best affiliation right now is like 116.5, and somehow we're going against a top 10 guild right now, so I can't do any of this stuff. These guys are spicy. We have got the Fallen Templar. These guys were my favorite for like the first multiple seasons of GVG. Incredible
Mm,
tank with particularly high
mhm.
defense, so really good against the physical damage dealers, but not terrible magic res. But really, you're going to use them if like there's a bunch of physical DPS. They fear magic damage, as they say here. Pretty good HP as well with an S rating. If you can get level 5, you get this nice plus 25% HP, which definitely goes a long way. That makes us a little closer to like a double S rating. I'm sure you like him a lot. How much do you like him is the question.
Okay, so this one was a tough one because when it comes to survivability, even if it's against magic damage, they tend to stay up a little bit longer. Like they got really good survivability, and for an epic, I think that they're the best one when it comes to survivability. So I would probably put them in. I had them in the S tier, but with this list, it would probably be between S and A. You can make a case for both, in my opinion.
We're really lining up now. I've got him at like the with bookkeepers at the very high end of A.
Oh,
Um,
high end of it.
yeah, so like you said, kind of just in between S and A. You
Correct.
cool? You cool with that?
Oh, that's awesome. That works for me.
Yeah, my kind of thinking there is they're like really tanky. I feel like you really need them level 5 to get that like true tankiness level, which if they got that at base, I'd probably be thinking S. But also at this point, because like the main dominant guys we're gonna be putting in S and S plus are so common, you just don't use them as much as we used to. But they're still pretty awesome. I think basically
Yeah,
for viewers, if you're A or higher, these are like the ones you're like, I got him. Hopefully I get him level 5. These guys are gods, kind of thing.
absolutely, absolutely.
Love these guys. Here's not a god. This is the Frozen Drifter. This is one I've never even used. So it's very new. I want to say it was 2 seasons ago that this was an
Mhm.
season exclusive. And I don't even know where it drops from now, to be honest. He drops from gear raid 3, so maybe I'll finally get this guy level 2. Maybe he was even last season's exclusive. I only have him level 1. Relatively high physical damage, very fragile. That's the key thing here. I basically just read the stats. Maybe I'll start here because that guy already went. I mean, just no defense, no magic res, HP's whatever, not even fast. Puts out Winter's Bite, but the whole thing with Winter's Bite is you need to keep spamming it, and right now we're going to get more units that can do it. I'm assuming with this Frostborn thing that's coming. But we don't have other really units doing it right now. So he's the only one stacking it, and he's not going to stay alive long enough to stack it. I really hate him. What do you think?
So, in my experience, I actually, when I first got him, I took a look at his kit, and the fact that they mention on here that he's very fragile, it kind of instantly turned me off. I was like, okay, yeah. I don't want a guy that's going to die instantly. But then I saw, if he happens to I guess frostbite them or whatever, I don't remember what exactly it was, but everyone can, if you do like a swarm, they just go right past them. Who are like whatever, let's say it's a Brock here, he freezes them, they go right past them. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, but I don't know. I kept trying to use him and he just kept dying. So this guy's way too squishy.
You actually did mention something I started touching on, but you said it or drove it home much clearer. If someone freezes from Winter's Bite, it's different than normal freezing. They lose all their block. For anyone that's had to deal with Chapter 10, that's such an annoying thing that happens with those new stages. So you can get 2 of these out. So if you double stack them, that's 4 hits. There's an RNG to the Winter's Bite. Do they even tell us how often they do it? I don't know if they do. There's a 12% chance. So if you get those 4 out, they're kind of quick with their attack interval. If we had one other unit that could do it, you could see there being this kind of cheeky off meta where you freeze a Broke here and just walk right by, or you freeze a Regulus or something. So I do like that. So I'd say this is a much higher potential unit than the Adag's follower, but still the way it stands right now, I find this to be an unusable unit.
Yeah, I had him in the same category. I will say this though, when I was testing him out, this is the thing. It's all RNG. So if you can get that, if you could get them to do what was it called? The Winter's Bite.
The Winter's Bite, yeah.
Yeah. If you could get that on them, it's pretty awesome because then everyone goes right through. But it's something that, you want a more, a higher percentage chance of winning than just, hopefully he does the Winter's Bite.
Yeah, totally. The weird thing there, actually, will they give me the breakdown? No, I'm gonna have to go to Ymerit really fast to show you, or show the viewers really. If we go here with Winter's Bite, basically you get the 3 stacks, and once you get that 3rd stack, you get that 2-second freeze, which is long, and you can just have someone walk through. So like you said, if you want to risk it for the biscuit, you might even just throw out the 1 deploy, the 2 quantity. If they both, if one hits twice and one hits once pretty quickly before they die, send the hounds or something. That's pretty spicy. That's pretty good. Yeah, maybe it's even borderline D. Now that I'm saying it out loud, what do you think? I had him in F, but
I had him in F as well, non-existent here. But you could make a case for him in D. It's just I really don't like how it's hey, maybe it will work this time.
You know what though? You're right that's true. And right now, everyone's doing freaking spiders into dogs YOLOing against Ingrid, right? And
Right.
So that's a risk it. This is a lower probability and less high potential, but it's still it could happen at lower level GBG. Yeah, I think it's got to be D. Not a good D though. You agree with you. You're the one that convinced me. Here we've got, I think this was the season 4 exclusive. So good, in my opinion. We got the Garnet Guards. I finally got these guys to level 3. I'm hoping to get them really got to get them up to level 5, get the extra tankiness so they can stall a little more for you. They do ranged and they always target until this is something people don't understand. You see this last line, until it struggles against tank, or they're kind of saying it wrong. But basically, as long as they haven't engaged with a tank or a fighter or some unit, until that happens and their aggro is taken, they'll always target who's ever in range within their range and is a platformer. So it comes with this crazy range, this Navros range. So it's super good. It is a bit niche, obviously, but if you double these guys up or space them out appropriately, you can snipe some crazy, crazy things, especially if people don't build their platforms with enough HP, which a lot of people still do make that mistake at lower levels of GBG. Pretty cool guys. Pretty solid stats as well. What do you think of these guys, Deez?
Bro, one of my favorite demon soldiers in the whole entire game. I love it when a team, like there's this one team that tried to bait their Elwyn. They put her in a lot of HP. And, I actually put my A3 Praetus on top of the Garnet Guards and he still ended up one-shotting them. So, this one, you could make a case for him at the God tier booty clapper, but he is a little more situational because of what you just said. Once he gets to the tank, he's not doing anything, right? I'd probably put him at the S tier. S tier, I think, is a good tier for him.
If you feel strongly, I will defer to you. I had him as my second A unit, which like I'm still rating these A units really high. The thing is basically if you see that setup and you're like, oh my god, that Morgan's open, or or I don't think he like you're just Praetus right, something like that. Like your guildmate tested it. He's the best. It's like a cheat code, right? But I'm finding maybe where I'm in GVG right now, it's too often people are building their Mari like with 40k HP. And and like people's Praetuses, if they get just one ult off or two ults off, they become too tanky. That being said, there's enough use. And I think I want to defer to you here because like most people I think are like me and you've got them like level 2 or level 3 or something. I think once we get little more levels and every level you're getting these huge attack boosts, I think they're going to come back into like an even stronger meta. So if you want him in S, my man, I will put him in S.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. Here's one that is my favorite, full stop. I won't budge, but I think I won't have to because I think we're going to agree. The Ghoul Hound. These guys are crazy. They cost 5 energy. You do 3 at a time. I think anyone that's done anything beyond like basic, like the basic level of GVG has heard someone or a guildmate or someone on a stream say double dogs. I feel like double dogs, that is GVG to
dogs.
me.
Throw down the double dogs.
Yeah, you do this and then back tile 10 double dogs, It's like you're calling it a strike. This unit, extremely high movement speed, especially if you get him level 5. And again, like some of these units we talked about, I think it's so much easier to farm the units that drop from Gear 3 because we all eventually reach a point where like a ton of our farming is done in Gear 3. It's not really till later on you get so hyper-focused, so you accidentally get these guys level 4 and then level 5, at least in my experience. They're mad quick. They're passive plus 20%. They're already the fastest unit, and you get that at level 5. They're just super fast. And then here's kind of the difference. They have the B HP. They don't like insta-die unless you really get screwed by like a hot sit because you mistimed your thing, which of course does happen. But if you nail them, they're so good. What do you think?
Okay, so with the dogs, right? I mean, there was 3 demon soldiers on this list, 3 that it was not a question. I automatically knew that they was going to be S plus booty clappers, and the dogs was one of them. I mean, you want to talk about a demon soldier that almost everybody uses in almost every single strategy. It doesn't matter if you're doing bombers. It doesn't matter if you're doing the flying strat. I mean, any strategy you can use double dogs. Like you said, send the double dogs. If all else fails, let's say your guys ain't getting through. Sometimes if your tank's making it alive, you could still at the very end send out double dogs and they come in with their cape and they save the day.
It's so true. Like it's happened enough times where it's like, oh, like my whole setup failed. All right, let's just double dogs. And you get one through and it feels like you just completely stole all their candy, Yeah, I have them as the number 2 ranked one. I'm certain I know who you think the other top 3 one is, but we'll get there shortly. Here's one I just used in a fight for the first time, like in an important fight for the first time in a while. I call these the little weirdos. I always forget their name, but they're the super high quantity guys. You can see they're called the High Order Abyssal Beholder. And they are very, very high quantity, right? At base quantity, there are 4. If you can get them to level 5, which I'm getting pretty close to, you can see I'm just like just over 4 drops away from getting level 5. Their base quantity is now 5, which is kind of spicy. They appear, they can deal more damage to the soul core with single deployment. They're quite fragile. You can see C's across the board right above your shoulder, D's. They're not slow, but they're not fast. The damage is kind of there. The big thing with them is if you can get a perfect setup, if they don't die, that's 5 flipping units, or 4 if you don't have them level 5. What do you think of these guys? A little niche, but kind of spicy units.
By the way, I'll answer that here in a second, but for everyone watching me, I'm kind of looking at the screen, then I'm looking over. This is my first, as we mentioned at the beginning, this is my first ever, was it?
Collab.
Oh, shit.
You got it.
this is my first ever collab, so I'm trying to get this down. Like, am I looking
you're
this way,
fine.
or am I looking straight?
Anyone that watches me, like I have got one monitor here, one monitor here, so I'm always doing the swivel anyway. So you're good. You're good.
Gotcha. Well, okay. So with these guys right here, I'm not gonna lie, I had them in the F tier. Well, in the non-existent tier, mainly because they just die so fast. But I did not know that when you get them to level 5, it's +1. I mean, that's major. That would be. I think that would serve them more of a purpose. So I guess you could. Well, again, I only had 4 tiers. So with this tier setup, I would probably put them in like maybe the C tier.
I got him like right in the middle of B. I can hear C2. The thing is, speaking of our dogs, like if you can get just 1 or 2 of those beholders to engage, even at base, even before level 5, even with the 4 units, you can do like a rush through strat. So I did that against Sun Wukong a couple times last week. You just need them to not just get that enough setup where your healers are there. Maybe there's a tank with a fool that's existing, so they're already engaged. These guys can. You know what else they're phenomenal at that I've used them for? They're great to trigger a hot sit ult to make sure hot sit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, if you're willing, I would love to keep. We can put them towards the end, but I'd love to put them in B because I think very niche, but they can be kind of spicy when you need them.
Okay.
I was like you, though. I never even used them, and then people on stream told me to, and I was like, that worked. That's crazy. Because like a spicy trigger or that quick engage to let one dog slip through, or one extra dog. It is the difference.
Well, since Fastidious has them at B tier, I guess I'm going to have to start using them. They're probably a little more useful than I thought.
Me and my guild and my guild leader Hawkus have them at B tier. I'm still maybe I'm not a total noob at Guild Wars, but I'm definitely not as good as you, and I'm definitely not as good as some people watching, I'm sure.
No, I mean, I'm not. Oh, yeah.
I think they've got some spiciness to them. I think they deserve the B. You guys can fight us in the comments if you think. This is, I know tons of really endgame players, like top 10, top 20 guilds are doing cute stuff with our newest exclusive. It's this year, this season. Season 6's exclusive soldier. It's going to be the Infernal Cleric. I used them a couple times this past war. They do work. I do have my issues with them. How do you like these guys? I guess I'll tell everybody what they do real quick. They do support, and basically it's like a buff to everybody that increases their magic resistance, which if people don't know, that's like defense to magic damage. So they can make it easier to tank some hits from an Ingrid or from I guess Praetus when he's not doing his true damage, so on and so on. What do you think?
Okay, so with these guys, they're a little niche. Okay, so I like the magic resistance thing, but I actually so I did a strategy with them because right when they got released, I got lucky. I got them, and then I went ahead and threw them in one of my teams, and we actually tested it because everyone's like, one of the guys in my guild was like, "Oh wow, I need those new guys." That was awesome because my I kept them all up with the Fool and the little Infernal Cleric, but then we tried it without the Infernal Cleric for someone that is similar BP as me, and Maul still didn't die. So I was like, oh, maybe they're not as good as I thought. But I think that there are some uses for him. Me personally, I only used him on that one strategy, so I'm not super familiar with him. But after we did that test, I was like, okay, maybe he's not as good as I was thinking. But now that you told me that, maybe he is. So with all that being said, I would probably put him in like maybe, I don't know, A, B tier, maybe B tier. B tier sounds like a solid spot for him.
Yeah, I had him actually the lowest ranked A. So like right on that cusp of A and B. I had him as my ninth A unit. But we are moving these around as we go. I find you can do some cool things against those like Cultists, Ymeric, Anora, Morrigan teams. That's something I run. People have used him to beat me a decent bit. I tried him really hard with success against the version of this team that wasn't Jake Smash's team. It failed against Jake Smash because his team is insane and I hate him. His defense is so stupid and so good. I streamed that for hours practicing trying to beat him. But I did beat the practice defenses using this that still were like, almost 500k BP teams. Really, really good for like the way I found to use him, which is why I like him, but also why I don't, just to let you take 1 or 2 more hits that could be the difference between like your lightning guard squeezing by or not, or a menace, something like that, or maybe a dog doesn't get one shot. That's what I found the use for him to be. I've had not the greatest success, but I have seen, especially watching people beat my Morgan defense. I've seen people do it. My issue with him is, even though he's low cost, you still have to use energy to use him, obviously. And he's such a good support for this, but you're going to need a healer because his stats aren't bad, as you guys can see with the A magic res, and he's giving himself the buff, and then the A HP. But they're not good enough that he's going to survive long by himself, especially if you try to use him against Ingrid or something like that, right? So that's kind of what my issue has been. You got to kind of time out a Scalekin Shaman or something for some heals before, because he's going to take AoE and you're going to use him against AoE because he's like the anti-AoE magic guy, right? So it gets it really, really tight with the ult timings. Like there was one defense where it like worked against this Valkyria, but not the other because of rage regen. So I do like him. I think I do want to keep him in A, but I think I do want to keep him like buried in the back of A, because I just think, yeah, right now with the maps we have, this could change season to season. I think it's hard to keep him alive for as long as I want, unless you have crazy affiliation, but then like you don't need our advice.
Well, another good thing about that guy is I was seeing you do it in your strategy because I was watching your Twitch stream. You could use him as bait as well, just to bait
That's
the
true.
ultimates, because he only costs 3, right?
Yeah, that actually is how I've used him. I'm glad you mentioned it. That's how I've been using him. Yeah, I use like one, sometimes at the beginning or right before the other to get my timings right, because you only just need the one there. It's not like they can double up and double buff you. So as long as one's there when you have like your guys flying over, your dogs running through, or you know what, you just want to need your axes to get one more hit, whatever it is. That's a really good point. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing you do. There's a lot of content where I guess you can do double healers. Obviously, you can get double heals heal. You can't get double buffs. But sometimes you only need the one healer, so you use a healer as bait. He does work really good for that at only 3 costs. Very good point. Right. Okay, here is another legendary. I feel like this guy is like the ultimate fall from grace demon soldier. What do you think of the Knight of Destruction? He's got super high S tier HP, good attack. He's a fighter, but he's tanky, kind of expensive at 6, especially for only being 1 quality. I feel like this guy used to be like king of guild wars. A little less nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, he was at one point. I mean, I still use him a lot, but sometimes I'll use the epic guys more than him. I mean, it depends on the strategy, but you know, with the what was his name again? Knight of Destruction.
Knight of Destruction, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so with the Knight of Destruction, I just feel like oh man, this one was really tough for me, but I still use him a decent amount.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say he's bad. He's obviously not bad, but there was a time where I would have had to consider him as a booty clapper, and certainly you wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah. So with him, I had him right on the same level as what was the epic guy's name? Sorry, I'm not super good with the names on this. I just know the big shield dude.
The Fallen Templar.
Fallen Templar, yeah. I had him right on the same level as him. So it would be with the A tier.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is one I butted heads with my guild a little bit on, because they had him S still. I don't know if I want him A or S. Maybe, what would you think if we come back to see how it shakes out, to see where we feel? I would definitely put him above everybody in A. And to be honest, I probably would put him above the rock throwers. So maybe that means I do think he's S. I guess the thing is, you can kind of use him like the way you'd use Maw, without having to deal with the waiting. You're not going to get the biggest payoff, but at 3 less cost, you can run him with a Fool, and then you can tank things up, and then you can do a rush strat, or maybe even get a kill if you throw some axes out. I think there was a time where he's a booty clapper. I guess that's what it is. So I feel like he sucks now, but he probably still is S tier. Do you think that? Because I'm just looking at this. To me, he's worse than these 3, but he's better than everyone else so far. Do you agree with that?
I think like I said, and I actually had him on S tier for my tier list. But with this tier list that you made, it kind of extended everything. So I think everyone could make a case for him at S tier, but you could also make a case for him at A tier. But I'd say S tier will be good for him.
I think let's put him S tier. He's probably going to end up being a little further down on the S tier. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm even looking at this list. I already see one person. I see 2 people I want to bump up ahead of him, but all within the S tier. Very, very good. Here, this is our clapper, right?
I mean, come on now. Come on now, you already know that this right here is one of my. Not only do they come with the booty clapping, I mean their damage is absolutely insane. But if you can time, like, let's say someone has an insane, like, I don't know, ultimate or Hatsu strategy. Basically, what you do is you bait her ultimate, then you send him through, and he just absolutely deletes everybody. You know, so he's just. I mean, there's so many strategies that you can use with this guy, and it's not only flying strategies. So, like, I seen a strategy with Ingrid and Lucius. Then basically I baited Lucius's ultimate. And then right after that, I send out both the lightning guards. And then I also send out the healer as soon as his cost comes up. He gets through, and then he basically kills Ingrid, Lily. Let's say it's Lily and Lucius. So then it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, with the lightning guard, he really is not to the level of Ma, but still total booty clapper because he's like, and kind of the same as the Hound. These are my top three as well. You build entire strategies around him about time, baiting ults, timing it out, and finding that window for the lightning guard. You double him up, you sneak him through, and like you said, it's magic damage, but it works against everybody. S tier attack. It's just like snipe, snipe, snipe. You just got to squeeze him by that Paredes or squeeze him by that hot sit, and then before you know it, everything's gone. And then you're out with the dogs or the lizard flies and the menaces. It doesn't matter, right? So I have him, to me, let me know if you agree. I mean, you obviously agree about S+. To me, this is such a clear top three. Like, it's number one, number two, number three. These guys are just like I feel like 90% of Guild Wars is these guys.
I mean, if you want to make a daddy list, they would be the top three and everyone else will be underneath.
If you could have three fathers, you're looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, insane. And I'll also say they have a special place in my heart. They were my first legendary demon soldier ever. Right when they released legendary demon soldiers, they were my first drop. So I thought that was very fun. Or maybe it was right even when they released demon soldiers. I got them that first day. Yeah, I love these guys.
It took me a minute to get those guys.
And I'm really hoping, you can see I'm a mountain away, but maybe 2026 I'll get them level 5.
I can't see. Let me move my head. How many?
10 out of 160,
dang.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess the viewers can see out of there, but I just got him level 4 at least. But can you imagine these guys with plus 50? Do you have them level 5?
I have them level 2.
Okay.
It's a little unfortunate, but I still, you play A3 Praetus on them.
Oh, yeah.
And they get through. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah. If you could, they hit so hard and then you're getting 15%. It's just crazy. Okay, those are our LGs. Now up, we have got the Lizardflies, who I actually just happened to mention. I think we've covered almost all of the rares so far. Actually, we haven't covered the best ones yet, but these are one of the top 3 rares for me. The Lizardflies, I really like it because of very low energy and very nice quantity at 3. They're airborne. They don't really do too much of anything. If a lot of stuff is falling apart, they can get a couple cheeky kills, but they're mostly just like a swarm strat aerial version. You get their HP up. Obviously everyone will get them level 5 plus eventually. Pretty cool. How do you like these guys?
I like them, but very situational. More than likely, it's going to be a flying team. And there's 2 different strategies that I know a lot of people like to use. You're either using them for bait.
Yeah.
Then you send in lightning guards or whoever else, right? Just to bait the ultimates, or you're using them for, let's say they only have 1 or 2 heroes that can actually hit flying units. You kill them, then you go ahead and send them through and they go all the way. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's spot on. You use them as like, maybe throw them with, if there's a bunch of single target, you get a tank out to draw the aggro, then you throw them out. As long as they're not like airborne priority units, they'll bait any remaining hot sit ult or something like that. Something really cheeky and annoying. Or maybe throw them out really early, quick on with like a healer or even an insta deploy before everyone's ready. You trigger hot sit ult and then you just double up you double up the LGs, So I like that. And then what you also said, you said one of them for sure, which is like you picked out all the units that can even hit aerials. Like you killed the arrogance, only Artie is left. You kill the arrogance and Silas or whatever. So then you just fly over. Why not? It's easy. It's 3 of them. And I guess the only like a leg off of that would be, I had to do this recently, these really stally teams with so many tanks, then you're not going to be able to kill them. So even after I flew over with lightning guards and killed everybody, I wasn't going to be able to like dog rush because they had 2 tanks. So then you just fly over. So it's niche. Absolutely. They're not special, but there's 3 of them. I think we'll agree where they're going to go. They're like obvious B tier to me, I think.
Yeah, correct. I would say B, C tier, somewhere around there, but B's a good spot for them.
Yeah, I guess my thing with why I have them there, it's kind of like the Abyssal Guards. Like, you're not really going to use them, but when you use them, you're going to use them, you know? You're not really settling when you use them. That's kind of how I'm viewing the B here. I probably would put them definitely below the Fallen Reaper guys. Those guys are, maybe those guys. Now that kind of makes me think, should these guys be in the same tier? I don't know. But no, it's good. We live onward and upward. Okay, we're going just full flyer mode. This is alphabetical, people, but it's just all flyers in a row. We had our LGs, then we had our lizard boys, and now just straight into the menaces. So these are our epic. We have our rare flyers, our legendary flyers. These are our epics. They have the coolest name, I believe, of any ones. They're the Murkling Menaces. Airborne, low key. It says be here, but I feel like you get cheeky kills with them. That's not why you use them, but you do. 2 quantity, so you can see like the legendary, the LGs. There's just 1, and then the epics there's 2, and then the rares there's 3. But they're somewhere right in between. They're a little slow for my liking. That's always bothered me. You can get a little speed enhancement passive that comes with them, and then eventually you can unlock this, which is some crowd control resistance. So maybe it helps against like a pesky Mari or something like that. Pretty straightforward unit. What do you think about the menaces?
So you might disagree with me on this one, actually. I'm not sure. Maybe we see eye to eye on this, but I think that they're good. So they cost 5. The cost is a little high, right?
I agree. It's a little high. It should be 4.
It should be 4, correct. But since they do cost 5, and I'd say the one advantage they have on the common guys, the little fly dudes, is that they're a little more tanky. They could survive a little bit longer, right? So with all that being said, the only reason that I see people use the guys that murk you is going to be for a flying strat. That's basically
like a fly swarm, yeah.
Yeah, like a fly swarm. So I would put them in the same category as the little flies, and I would put
I have
them
them literally just 1 above the little flies.
Oh, what above? Okay.
Yeah, like literally
So
just like just in order. I had them in that order.
Yeah.
Basically, with the menaces, it's like the flies are like a little more niche. They're the same idea, but it's like the flies like you need the 3 or maybe you need 2, and this is like you can this is like 2 maximum. But I will say these guys can take 1 hit. The flies can't. So like if you killed everything but a hot sit, as long as she's not going to ult, you could still pick her off with these guys. The flies would die. So that's what I was thinking.
Okay, I guess we do agree.
Yeah, we agree. Here's many people's favorite soldier. This is the bane of my existence right now. I've only farmed Gear Raid 1 for I believe 4 straight weeks, trying to get these guys level 5. And let me tell you, Deez, I'm not that close. I'll show you. I was stuck at 97 for about 2 or 3 weeks, and now I've been stuck at 107 for the past like 5 days since I got one more drop. And it's not, I'm not the hardest grinder on Geared 1, but I'm talking 300 to 600 runs a day every day. Wow. And I've the past 4 weeks I've gotten 1 drop. So
how close are you? Let me see.
Sorry, let me move it. I just realized you're there.
There you are. Okay.
What drives me crazy is like this is probably 6 drops because I'm probably not going to get 3 random lucky drops from like Guild War Settlement. So we'll see. Their level 5 is maybe the most game-changing level 5, I think. Why can't I see it? In the whole thing, you get more skeletons, which is huge, especially for dealing with like single target stuff, which they're awesome at baiting. And then also you get like 61,000 more HP. So
that's game-changing.
Yeah, so it's pretty spicy. I really want to get him level 5. Everyone tells me in my guild I have to get him level 5. I'll do attacks for my guildmates, and they have him level 5, and I'm like, oh, this does work. I don't have level 5 yet. We love these guys. How much do you love these guys? That's the question.
So I absolutely love these guys. Even if you don't have them at level 5, I mean, they just make a swarm strategy come together.
Well, yeah, let me say they're goated. I still use them constantly, but just like they're that good that my whole gameplay is trying to get them to level 5. That was my point. Yeah, they're still freaking awesome. Not level up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Please continue.
But they do become a lot better at level 5. But I would put them in the top tier. The top tier S+ booty clapper. I would say that they are very they're also one of the most used demon soldiers in the game.
I think originally I had them S tier because originally I only had these 3, but now that I feel like we've opened it up to something slightly broader, like who are just the most used, most desirable, like your obsessing to get them level 5, like that good. You use them that much. By that definition, we're cooking, baby. I also already had them above Axe Slaughterer, so that means they have to go S+. So the kind of neck and neck. I'll say of our booty clappers, I think you'll probably agree. The top 3 is pretty clear, and then these guys are like the group within the top, right?
Correct. I would probably say that. That's good.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really break down what they do so really quickly in case like total newbies. They come and they summon these skellies. It's really nice. They do 2 at a time, and they will just stop and summon more, and then 21 seconds they stop and summon more. If you can get here, you're going to get 3 at a time. It soaks up all the single target. It's so good. And even for against it, if you can get a healer out there that they live just long enough, you swarm through. They're key to so many strategies. I actually guess as I say it, that's kind of the difference, right? These guys are the strategy. These guys are like the key cog that allows some of the strategies, right? Maybe that's how I can think of it. Maybe there's even a double S that needs to be created. Here's one we can spend 2 seconds talking about. Should we put 2 seconds on the clock, Deez?
Let's do it.
Unless you disagree with it.
You lose. No,
They suck. The Scalekin Mage. Who's ever used them? Range magic, it's not good. There's 2 of them, but they don't do any damage. D defense.
Literally one shot.
We like D's, but we don't like a D. We don't like those D's. Okay. I actually had them ranked as the worst in the game. I don't know if you agree with that. I had them as the lowest in my F.
I would definitely agree with that. Listen, if you have a guy that can get one shot from a Brock here, it's not going to be a good day.
Yeah. According, my guild leader did a one-liner. He said, they are only useful in the early stages of your GVG career before you can access more reliable damage dealers, aka anyone.
I concur.
Yeah, so no good. We spent a while on our Necros. We can make up some time by spending, I don't want to mention these guys again. Okay, incredible unit alert. Scalekin Shaman. Let me pull them up. These are our epic healers, and they're the only pure healers we have out of all the demon soldiers. And then basically it's like them and the Fool. Those are like our survival ones, kind of with the cleric doing a separate supporty thing. These guys, pretty cool units. They've got heals. What is this? Their level 5. They get plus 25% at level 5. Every 10 seconds, they're going to stop and do this nice HP. They got solid stats, so they're definitely not like insta-death targets. They can survive. They can stay alive, and they're also doing the AoE heal to help themselves. I'll give them an extra shout, something I like about them. We have certain units in this game. We haven't talked about Scourge yet, but it's clear within a gear raid, even if they're both epic, like Necromancers are here, Scourge are here in terms of quantity, right? Like you're getting, for every 1 Necro drop, I get 10 Scourge. That's kind of what the Scalekin are like when you're farming gear raid 2, which is kind of nice because they're awesome. So like, for example, like I think is Murkling Menace a Gear Raid 2 drop? Let me take a peek here. Yeah, they're Gear Raid 2. I've got these guys not even level 5 yet. My Scalekin, I think, are heading towards level 7. Yeah, you can see that. So they, I kind of like that. They're kind of throwing us a bone. They're kind of a necessary support unit, and they're pretty easy to farm. How much do you like these guys? We both love them. How much? How much is the question?
So with these guys, their heals are just absolutely overpowered, and it can get you through some sticky situations. And I mean, they're just legit. These guys are definitely legit. The biggest knock on them is they do die pretty fast. Once they get in the range of whoever's got the range to hit them, then more than likely they're going to die. So since they do die fast, but they do supply heals, I was taking the yin with the yang, and I actually had them at A tier. I had them at S tier on mine, but with this tier list,
I actually, this is our first time, I think, hard disagreeing. I have them like here, like I definitely would rate them above the rock throwers and the Night Destruction. I would have them just outside of booty clapping. They probably end up being my top ranked S unit. I think just for me, it's, you can't always use the Fool. And also the Fool can fall apart pretty fast. Obviously, it's going to be awesome for certain strats. These guys I use them probably maybe more than that. But besides the dogs, they're probably my most used unit. There's always a way to fit them in. Lots of strategies. I'll bring only 3 or 4 units for my core strategy. And I'm like, well, I might as well bring the healers. Worst case, I got a bait or some extra heals on the back end. Please.
Oh, sorry. Do you get these? You said you get these from Gear Raid 2?
From Gear Raid 2, yeah.
Yeah, I think mine is very low level. I never farm Gear Raid 2, so
Oh, okay.
maybe if I got them a little higher, it would change my I barely use them. They just die so fast for me. So
Really? So I would definitely encourage you to farm them to level 5. They've got some
yeah,
tankiness on them when you get the extra 25%. And,
correct.
and frankly, if you're serious about GVG, you guys got to farm gear 8 too. You got to get that oh my god, the Ageless Wrath gear. That's your best affiliation gear. So
Yeah, that is true.
but yeah, just they're you know what, they're one of one, right? No one else can really heal. So for that alone, I've got them really high. I'll tell you, I've also got the Fool really high. I just think they're kind of special units. They're key to so many strategies. You know, they're unless if they got a lot of DPS, you're probably not going to pull off a swarm strat against a top guild without a healer. So I think they got to be, for me, they got to be S tier. Any pushback or?
I mean, hey, if I get mine a little more leveled up, I would probably agree with you. But as of right now, I mean, I guess we could make a
Here's a
case for
counter
them
argument.
after.
This is so down. Me and you are kind of later on into Guild Wars. Neither of us are in
Yep.
top guilds, but we're like top 50 or whatever guilds.
Mhm.
When you're in the young guilds, you need these guys. So like they're
Oh,
amazing
yeah,
in the end
no.
and they're amazing in the beginning. So I think that alone, you know, there might be a period in the
Okay.
middle. You're right, where like you've got the good DPS, but your healers aren't good enough to stay up because they die. I hear you. I think they got to be. I think they got to be here. I do.
Okay, let's do it S tier. Let's do it.
Okay. We've got these guys, the Scalekin Warrior. Weird looking person. I don't even know what to call this. A support, kind of clunky. They stop at their little thing and they give their nice little aura, and it does make you go real quick. It's good for very, very specific strats. I kind of overplayed my hand here. I do think they're clunky, getting it to time out right and getting it to march out right. So it's going to have to be a lot of friendly face-off practice against mirror defenses and stuff. I also think they're the speedsters and they give you more speed. Why are they at least give us like A on the base speed, right? Like I don't know. What do you think of these guys? They're obviously not bad at all. They were season exclusive a few seasons ago. What do we think?
Okay, so with these guys right here, they're a little. This one was a really tough decision for me because they're very situational. You know, you're doing a bomber strat. I mean, absolutely perfect for bomber strats. You know, you just get there faster and more chance of getting the bombers past the defender so they can blow everything up, right? But I mean, outside of that, there's not really too many other strategies where you're going to use these guys. So I think like maybe B tier would be a good.
I had them on the cusp. I had them as my last B. Basically, what I'm thinking is that's the one specific strat, but even there's a lot of bomb shots you don't even need them. But they're especially with that old map, like 2 maps ago, the one that like went like kind of like that. That makes no
Correct.
sense on camera.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm talking about? It was like
Yeah.
I would have to do with a mirror. It was like this one. You remember that one? Then they were awesome. So they do have like one very specific niche use, which kind of makes them B. And I think outside of that, especially if you're earlier on, you could just like put them out there. You know, they don't have bad stats, so like it's something, and maybe they speed up a flyer, or they speed up a dot, whatever it is. But yeah, you can tell I'm not crazy about these guys. Okay, here's one we might disagree on: the Scourge. What do you think of the Scourge? This is okay. So for perspective, I've had 10 Necromancer drop. I did like 40 runs before we filmed, and I got 3 Scourge drops. Like it's just ridiculous. I've got these guys at 325 out of 480. Wow. And so on my way to level 7, and I can't get my Necromancers to drop once.
Oh, that is wild.
Crazy.
Okay, so I don't know where you would have them at, but let me just say this. When I first started Guild Wars, I actually used these guys a lot. I used them all the time, and they actually would stay alive back when they first released these guys. But as time went on, I barely use these guys anymore. I would probably put them in like the D tier. They're for me, it's just not super. I don't see too many guys using strategies with these guys against me, so that's another reason why I would put them D tier.
I knew we would disagree. I hate them in principle because they won't stop dropping for me. So I've gone out of my way to use them constantly, and I actually have started finding ways to use them. So I've been
Really?
B tier, not too high in B tier, but yeah, especially when you have like the tower map we have right now, the one that goes like this, you can
Okay.
definitely, if you can, they only have one tank and you can squeeze by and like kill that Anora or kill that Boreas or kill that Silas, whatever they set up. Like when you set up a little closer, it works for me when I get my timing down. It always works for me. So it is like there is a cheeky strat that I'm doing a lot. So they're in that niche range and definitely not in like the supreme niche like the A's. But personally, maybe we could settle on C. I kind of want to go with a little spice, but you can get the Scourges cooking. And I'll tell you, if you're in my situation where your Scourges are this high up with their health and everything, because you keep farming Gear Raid 1 and they keep dropping instead of Necros, they kind of get tanky and usable all of a sudden. You know, they don't have bad base stats. And as you keep empowering them, I'm finding use for them. They're also 4 cost. I feel like that's not that much.
Kind of low. Yeah, that's kind of low.
I do double. You basically, at my level at least, they're strong enough that if I double Scourge, I just need 1 to pass through, and I'm gonna kill who's ever back there. You know, if it's
if you're double scourging, what else are you throwing out there?
Well, I'm getting like my tank. So probably what I'll normally do. I actually just did this two like last week, but 2 wars ago.
Okay.
Essentially, what I did was I did like a Fool, and I think it was magic. So I did a Pharaoh Guard, and I had that as a stall. The Fool stayed there. Then I waited right before the Fool was going to actually come and engage. Then I threw forward the 2 blue tanks. So then I had 3, and then I double Scourged. So one got picked up. That was 4, and then I snuck 1 through.
Okay. I'll try that. I will try that.
I guess I actually took the video and sent it to my guild. I was like, I made the Scourge work. Copy my strategy. Because I guess the Fool didn't engage because I did have to go double blue tanks. So yeah, I went Fool, then had the Pharaoh Guard trail, picked up with the shield, lasted forever because it was against like I think it was against a Boreas kind of a Nora Cyrus thing. That actually is what it was. Then I did my double blues. Double blues are awesome. We're going to talk about them in a second. And then I just double Scourge and just 1 snuck through. Boreas dropped. We went a little further. And then, yeah, I guess I think it probably was going to merit there. And then Anora dropped. And then I dogged it, double dogged it. That was my team.
Got it. Double dogs.
Got to double dog.
Got to double dog it.
I think I kind of like, because to me, it's hard to say. They're definitely better than some of these to me. Like I'd put them here, like. But again, this is like my specific use I keep trying to find for them. But yeah, I wouldn't use them.
Okay, so you're actually. This is a hero that I haven't used for a very long time, or I shouldn't say hero, a demon soldier that I haven't used for a very long time. So you might be onto something here, and I'm probably wrong on this. So I think if you say they're B, I'm going to try and start doing some strategies with them, and maybe I kind of like that strategy right there. Taking everyone out.
Yeah, I hate Cyrus defenses, so that was a solution I found. It worked against a couple defenses that I tried after I practiced it. It might be because I've got my level 6 Scourges. Maybe once I get them level 7, I'll just use them in every strategy. So who knows exactly with that. But you know what I also say? Like you said, in your early Guild Wars, they're awesome. Like when you're like not against super meta teams with crazy affiliations, all this, I think they're really good. So I think mid B is fine. Let's see. We're getting towards the very end here. Only a couple. Here's one that I also. This is why I've done a lot of Gear Raid too, and I actually gave up. So the Necromancers, I decided I wouldn't give up. I tried forever to get these to level 5, and you can see I didn't even make it that far. I'm still 14 drops away from level 5, and I farmed so much. Like that's why my healers and everything are so high. I actually had them at level 2. They just never dropped for me, and getting to level 4 took forever. But these are spicy units. They come with 2 quantity, 4 energy. Very, very good at shredding tanks. Really nice, like kind of penetrating damage. Pretty nasty. What do you think?
So the pro is exactly what you said. They can shred a tank. I mean, they're big time booty clappers, right?
Yeah.
But the knock on them is they're very, very squishy. They can die so fast. Like, especially if someone has, I mean, both of our guilds are pretty high up there. My guild's not even close to being Overlord at the moment, but we was at one point. We just been on a little bit of a losing streak as of late. But we're going to get that back together. But so with these chicks right here, I know there's just so many. If she wasn't so squishy, she would be a lot higher for me. I mean, shoot, we could even put her in the S tier booty clappers strategy, right? Or tier.
I really agree. Like it surprises me. I was trying. That's why I moved you out of the way so people could see. Like it surprises me she gets a B on defense. I feel like she really dies like against physical
Yeah.
DPS. She really does. The cool thing is she's so cheap at 4. So at 8 you can get 4 of her out because it's 2 per deploy. So I really like that. But as someone who doesn't have her level 5, for where I'm at, I feel like she like everyone's telling me to use her. She doesn't work for me because I don't have level 5. Necros you can still work at level 4 and lower. But she just isn't having that. At level 5, you get the dodging, and you get a pretty major upgrade to your HP over here. So I think that kind of does make all the difference. But it's so often I get Krakens when I stream this stuff coming in and like, oh, just use Shadowcaster. I'm like, it's like it doesn't work for me, dog.
Well, one thing that I will mention is that I am pretty bad at farming anything except for Gear Raid 3. I just ever since I don't know, maybe like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, all I farm is Gear Raid 3. But talking to you on this, I think getting these demon soldiers up is definitely worth it.
I think it comes down to priorities. Geared 1 is really easy to farm, right? Because it's just you don't have to worry about main stat variability, so you actually don't need to farm it that much, and we can all graduate from that pretty quickly. Especially now that you can get like Wicked Vengeance and stuff, and Astral Guardian from the Forge. And then Gear Raid 2, you just need before you're like endgame, you just need your Invig sets, and you need maybe like one good Ageless Rasset or 2 just for BP affiliation. However, now that I started caring about Guild Wars, I do like farm hoping for Demon Soldiers. I did reach that point. And then Gear Raid 2, I just farm a ton just for Ageless Wrath gear, which never drops. I keep having to ascend my Night Terror.
Well, I'm glad we did this video because I'm definitely going to start farming Gear Raid 1 and Gear Raid 2 now.
I would say you get more bang. You definitely get more bang for your buck farming Gear Raid 2. Gear Raid 1, it's just praying for Necromancers mostly, and it doesn't really work for me. Yeah, talk to some of the guys in like top 10 who are trying to farm their level 6 or level 7 Necromancers. There's no life. It's endless.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just don't drop. Same with the Shadowcaster. There clearly are different buckets, and these guys don't drop either. But if you can get the dodge, she really starts dodging. You get the HP up, shreds. So super, super good. Lots of cool strategies. I'll tell you where I've got him. I've got him at like the very, very top of B. I don't think as meta as this stuff, but maybe actually now I say it, maybe like the low end of A. I think it's still situational, but I'll give him the A bump. I think for an account like mine, they're B, but if you've got him level 5 or higher, they're like S. So I think we split the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I probably A is good. A is good, and even not having them at level 5. I still like them at A, but it's just exactly like you said. It depends on who I'm going against. And
that's kind of what it is too.
Is.
That's the weird thing about Guild Wars, right? Like I'm trying not to make this about level this or level that, but like the guilds I go up against, she stopped working for me. When we were against worse guilds, I used her to like every other fight. So it's hard to think. She definitely is A. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to bump her up to here. And this is my pitch. It's hard to do these lists, man. When you got an early account, she's just a god.
Absolutely.
Like in early game GVG, she's just insane. So she's like a booty clapper then. So yeah, I think like mid A.
That works
you
for me.
Convinced me. I convinced me. Okay,
we convinced each other.
So we got to do a big shout out here. I've already mentioned him a few times, but my guild leader Hawkus, he is the patron saint of the Skeleton Guardian, aka the Blue Boys, the Blue Tanks. These guys are kind of nutty because they're 2 quantity and only 4 energy, which a lot of things are, kind of like the Shadowcasters, but they're rare with S tier defense. Like it's legitness. They are actually tanky as hell. Not nearly as good against magic, but if there's some physical stuff, they can do some crazy stuff. Sensitive magic, I think sensitive is the word. I wouldn't say like super susceptible, but definitely sensitive. They're just warm bodies. You double them up, double blues. You got 4 units coming out at 8 energy. You got to be high on these guys. We talked about it before. How high we talking? How high we talking?
It's a funny story with these guys because I never used them up until a guy in my guild, Cap Kamikaze, he actually started doing these strategies with them. And I'm like, yo, why are you using them? And then he's like, they only cost 4. And then I was like, I never even paid attention to it. So then I started using them and I'm like, wow, these guys are really good. You were on to some, Cap. All right. So I have them at probably in the A tier. You could make a case for them at the S tier, but they're still not beefy enough for me to put them in S tier. That's just my opinion, though. But I do like how there's 2 of them.
I think I'm right there with you. I think in an all else equal world, like on a whale account, you've got all the levels and everything. You kind of graduate from these guys, but they're so good on any account because everyone has them level 5 or higher once you farm at all. They're rare, right? I mean, I don't even know where they drop.
Right.
It's probably Gear 8 2, but I mean, got them level 8. They're here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, Gear 8 2. I got them like somewhere high up in A. There's some spicy guys, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's too much more to say. They like here. You know what I'll tell you that might sell some people that don't believe me. This is how Hawk has converted me. Like I can't really make my Necros work against the really good defenses we have to deal with. I beat Jake Smash's defense with these guys. The first time my guild ever fully beat one of his defenses. We couldn't beat the Crazy Prey to Singrid one, but with these guys, my Necros couldn't survive. But if I double these guys, that was enough to get the one guy to go through, get the trigger, hots it goes, and then here comes the dogs. You know, so they kind of unlock that because there's actually a pretty low like skill isn't the word, but like account cap to them because they just got the nice base stats. As long as they have any affiliation, it's pretty good. So for swarm shots, I really, really do love them. I probably would put them right next to the Shadowcaster. I gotta say, I kind of want to put them above, but I know I shouldn't. So we'll put them. How about right here? I know I shouldn't. Let's put them
I was about to say we can't put them above Shadowcaster.
Yeah, we can't be crazy.
I agree with you.
We can't be crazy. But if you've never used them before, which probably is a lot of people, I really suggest the Skeleton Guardians because you can get a lot of bang for your buck there, in my opinion.
Absolutely, 100%.
Just it's about quantity. It's about getting past that. They can be the 4 block that the Broke Gear takes on, and then you get what you really need to go through. You can even sneak through if you got healing out there already too. Maybe you sneak through like an axe, and then you kill the Arrogance or the Artie or whatever it is. It's pretty spicy what you can do with them. I like them a lot. Only a couple left. I'm sure you're really high on these guys because you're talking about it earlier. Talk to me about the spiders. I don't even know what their real name is. These are
I just call them spiders.
the small arachnids.
All right, close enough. So with these guys, I mean, oh man, you're basically just using these for like a bomber strat, or a swarm strat if you're trying to swarm. But I would rather go a different route with most swarm strats. So with these guys, I personally only use them if I'm doing a bomber strategy, and I see people use them against me if they're doing a bomber strategy. So with that being said, I couldn't put them too high, but for a common, I think that they're probably top three, right? Maybe.
I have them at 3 for the rares.
Yeah, probably 3 because we got the flies, and then I would
actually put them right
guards
above. I'd put by a mile. I think it's the Skeleton Guards, and then I actually would put the Fallen Reaper just for the cheekiness. Then I'd put these guys, and then I put the flies. But like you said, if we're talking the super niche, which I think is what we're talking, I actually would put them right above the Abyssal Beholder. It's the same exact idea. These guys are 3 quantity, and when you get them level 5, they're 4. These guys are 4 quantity, and when you get them level 5, they're 5. But the thing is here, it's just so cheap. 3 energy for 4 of them. They have no stats. They literally have no stats, but they're fast enough. And they just bomb strat is legit. It still is legit, and this makes it sing. So they're nothing for anything else. You really can't justify using them unless you don't have many demon soldiers for anything else. But for that, what else is there to say, right? They work.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually going to put them as C, but since we do have the other guys right up there, I do like them more than the guys that cost 5.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good spot.
Yeah. I actually gotta say, the more I look at this, the more I want to put this back down and see. But I really, I might do it at the end. We'll see. But yeah, the spiders, they're the warmest of bodies, as fragile as any demon soldier in the game. But for specific things, when you need them, specifically the bomb strat, really, really good. Maybe we actually take this moment and talk about the suicide, the bomb strat itself. So we got our bombers over here. These guys, they drop pretty easily. I think they're a Gear Aid 1 drop, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are. They explode. And they do AoE damage. So if basically what you're doing, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the bomb strat, people only have so many block. These guys are 2 quantity. You time it out right at the beginning of a battle. Those 4 spiders engage the tank. The 2 bombs slip by. They explode, and it's like the kind of cross radius, and kind of boom goes the dynamite. They're really good for one thing, but they're really good at it. What do you think, Deez?
Oh man, this one's tough. Because it's kind of the same as the spiders, I mean, they're the key ingredient, but you're just using them for that strat. So of course we got to put them above the spiders because we can't do the spider strat without the bombers. So with that being said, maybe high B, possibly A, I mean, there.
I think
there
we,
could be
I think we have to put him like low A. I think we have to. It's the
low
same
A,
kind of
okay,
thinking
okay.
here. It's like Ma goes above, Ma goes, well, the Fool's not here yet, but Ma goes above the Fool because like it's Ma strat and then Fool's the partner kind of thing, right?
Correct,
Or like Lightning Guard goes here and then the healers go below because the healers go under the lightning to make sure it doesn't get sniped. I think it's the same kind of thing. It's like the spiders are the little, like they stir the pot, but what's in the pot? It's the bombers, it's the suicides, right?
That's a perfect spot.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, people are going to push back on this. I think I still will put them below the cleric, just because I see the cleric as a longer potential unit. It just takes one map for bombing not to be possible or something, right? Just like right on a curve or something. Yeah, I don't know. People will not like that, but I think I'll leave it here. Up now we've got these guys. Remember when Guild Wars first came out, like the first season, these guys were the red archers. I think they're called the Soulbone Archers. These are epic guys. They were a real thing for some sniping action. You can see here they got physical attacks from afar, pretty nice range. They're not going to tell us. It's really annoying. It can expand if you get them level 5.
I think to get the range, if you go back into attributes.
Oh yeah.
I think right
here?
underneath me in details. No, right underneath
details.
where I'm at.
Oh, you're so
Yeah,
right.
right there.
Oh yeah, so cool. It's this. So basically, this is an interesting thing. So people always like use the archers. Like if you're like, why don't you use the rock throwers and then the archers? The rock throwers have a condition in their kit, a passive that if they're not engaged with a melee unit like a tank or a fighter, they will always target first the platformer. These guys have no such conditions. They're always going to target the closest unit. So it's only going to be the platformer if the platform's closer than Brokier or whatever tank is there. But that is a badass range. I wish you told me that earlier. Remember there was someone who was like, oh, what's the range on this? I can't find it.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No, I'm glad you realize now. So yeah, pretty awesome range. They're good. I think there's not so many maps right now where you get the platformer coming at you first. So you kind of need the rock throws for that passive. But what do you think of the Soulbone Archer?
So I agree with everything you just said, because you said when we first started playing Guild Wars, these guys was the man, they were the myth, and they were the legend. These guys were absolute booty clapping machines. But as time has gone on, especially with this map, I mean, you're not going to have too many cases where you're going to use these guys. But I think if they, I don't know, I glanced at next season's map. I haven't really gotten to test it out yet, but I don't even know if we can. They're still not going to work.
Based on the picture, I can pull it up. I really don't see how they're going to work. It's a sad story, right? Well, you know what part of it was too, though? The first maps they were better on, but also not everyone had every demon soldier memorized. Who even knew the names, right? Now it's been out for like a year. We kind of know our stuff. So yeah, if you look here, I'll show you guys the new map really fast. It should be here. I don't see what, obviously, like if they put all their units back here and there was a random melee here, then the archers go for it. But that's not what people are going to do. They're going to put a tank here, and they're going to put melees, platforms here, or they're going to build up and build stuff here, or tuck in the corner here, tuck back here. They're just not going to work again, is basically what I would say. So they're going to be hitting tanks.
And it sucks. It sucks because they're good, but the maps are just making it to where they're basically useless. Only unless someone does lead or have the tank behind their, I don't know, their mage or whoever, then maybe you could get some cracks at whoever's in front. But in most cases, the tank will be the lead. So, man, I'd like these guys in the beginning, but right now they'd probably be pretty low for me. Maybe like maybe like a D tier.
I have them C tier. Let me pitch it to you. Sometimes people have bad defenses.
That is true. That is true. Well, I guess where we're at in the game, you're not going to see too much of that.
Yeah.
But on my free to play, I do see, someone will have like a really bad defense.
I'd say these guys are like kind of low key god tier in early game because people don't know how everything works, which is like, why would they? They're early game. They haven't been playing that long. And then it's like, if you leave a mage exposed or a marksman exposed, it's kind of GG. So I think I want to keep them C tier for that reason. I thought of something while you're talking. That's why I moved your head. So I just noticed I'm about to get them pretty soon. Let me click on them. You can see you get them from Gear 3. We've got a Gear 3 tournament live. So maybe I'll even get these guys level 5 this tournament. this is not that cool. This plus 15% defense, right? You know, it would be really cool. I just thought of, what if this gave them the rock thrower passive? So you got to get them level 5, but what if it was level 5, they prioritize platformers? Now all of a sudden you got a unit back on your hands, right?
Bro, if they had level 5 and they got the rock ability, I mean, they'd just be overpowered. They'd probably even be better than the rocks. I don't know.
For certain stuff, I think they would be. I would say the rock throwers are going to be tankier. But yeah, if you just need that pure damage, I do feel like, at least anecdotally, I think they both have A's, but it feels like these guys hit harder. I feel like that wouldn't be broken, though. It would make them so much better. I think, I don't know. Because they just don't work. Everyone knows how to play Guild Wars now, and unless they give us some maps where they force you to put your platformers up, I just don't think they work.
They're basically like, hey, let me just chop away at the defender and do no damage to him.
Yeah. All right. Up now, we've got the Stitch Carrion, which is pretty funny because this was also the GOAT when we first started playing. What do you think of the Stitch Carrion? I mean, we don't have to spend too long on this, I don't think.
Dude, I think he's an F. Nobody uses him.
Let me push back. No one at our level uses him. He's definitely not F.
Okay. Nobody at our level uses him. Okay, thinking of the newer guys, he's going to be really good. To your point, when we first started, I think he was the first demon soldier they gave us, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, for doing the free training mission.
And like everybody was using him, and he was just overpowered. He was awesome. But you're right.
He's got great stats too. So
he does. So maybe like I don't know, maybe in a C range, D range.
I think we got like the definition of the C. So we're out of the niche being you could still use them later on, but like some use being like if you don't have all the demon soldiers, like good stats, especially if like it's a good warm body. Basically that.
How much does he cost? I haven't used him.
I think he's 4. I think he's pretty cheap. He's 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
It's kind of like so the cost... it's on a budget Knight of Destruction kind of.
Right,
like can kind of hit, kind of tanky, only 1, and cheaper than Knight of Destruction, but not nearly as good. I feel like if someone like was early on and they had him, that you got him for free, and then you just pull an early Fool or something, you'll play around with some stuff.
Oh yeah, you'll do some nice things. You're right.
Speaking of the Fool, that wasn't even on purpose. This is gonna be our last banger of the video, I think. The Fool. Who doesn't love the Fool? Talk to me about the Fool. We got our currently our only shielder. Only shielder. But I don't know if you know, we're getting AoE shields from the new season exclusive, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. This is that was
the guy that I wanted to touch up on last.
This is the Saruman Fool.
and he does AoE, which is awesome. You know, I don't know how much shield it's going to be, but
it's not like the Fool because it's actually we can just here's a little sneak peek. I'm pretty sure it's based off of where is it? Oh, it's still based on their HP, but it's 25 seconds. That's kind of spicy. 25 seconds for 6 seconds on an 8-second cycle. Actually, this is going to be OP as hell. Story for another day. The Fool does 1 target, but it's 40%, which is crazy on the 6 seconds on the 8-second cycle. So single target, but for what he is, he's pretty awesome, right?
I mean, there is plenty of strategies. If you want someone to survive longer, you don't want them dying, you just send the Fool out and he just takes care of business. So with that being said, I'd still put him. Of course, he's not going to be on the higher end of this, but I would put him in the booty clapper tier just because of what he does and what he brings to the table.
Interesting. I don't disagree with the word. Just maybe again, its definitions. I would just put him like definitive S tier.
Definitive S tier
because he's like he's like stirring the drink, but these guys are the booty clappers are the drink kind of thing, you know?
I could see that. I mean, if he was on the booty clapper stage, I would definitely put him on probably like the lower end of it. But S tier is still a really good tier for him. I mean, you could just do so many things with him.
I think I'd put him. I can't decide if I'd put him above or below the healer. I think I'd put him just below. Hear out my argument. I think where we're at, you do use the Fool the Fool's a little more necessary. I don't even know if that's true, but it could be argued. I think earlier on, there's no argument that you're always going to go for the healers in like every fight. So I think I'd have to put it 1 tick below the healers.
Okay. That is true. But at the same time, the Fool, I think the reason why I like him so much is because I use them all in Fool. I mean, they just, it's like peanut butter and jelly.
That is really true. Like, Maw ain't Maw without the Fool.
Exactly. He wouldn't, I mean, he'd still be the best in the game, but at the same time, he wouldn't like there'd be plenty of ways to defeat him if you did not have the Fool. So I just, in my eyes, I just see the Fool as like so valuable for that. And even if you're not using Maul, you could even use like let's say the I'm really bad with the names on
Pharaoh
the demon
Guard or
soldiers.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you use one of them. He just keeps them up, and then you can even do a swarm strat if he could keep them up long enough. So I just feel like he is just so valuable because of that.
Absolutely. I'm also just realizing there is no Pharaoh Guard here. Speaking of the Pharaoh Guard, I was like, how has he not come up yet? And then I just forgot. They didn't have all of them on the asset folder, so I had to make some of them. Pharaoh Guard is amazing, insane magic res, pretty good very good HP, and even pretty okay defense. Just your tank's tank. If they have no true damage, nothing ignoring magic res or defense or whatever it is, if they are just hitting him up and just dealing magic damage, they're gonna be screwed. This is our little tanky fella. You can see if you get him level 5, you can even boost his magic res higher. I'm getting a little close, but it's gonna take a while. I'm almost certain he's a gear raid 2 guy. He is. 5 energy, 1 quantity. This guy is as tanky as they come. He's actually my favorite demon soldier tank. I like him even more than the Templar. What do we think here?
So, okay, I actually like the Templar more than him.
Okay.
But I have my Templar a lot higher level because I never farm Gear Raid 2. So, that's just from my account.
Here's something for you to chew on. I've got them next to each other. If that's
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would put them right next to each other. But they're to your point, very tanky. Especially if someone has a magic damage booty clapping team, he's going to be the man for the job. You send him out, he's going to take care of work. So, definitely same tier as the other guy. We put him right at A.
Yeah, I had him the very, very top at A tier. Like, I don't know why. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's make it cleaner. No, like this. They can be right next to each other. I think that just makes sense. I guess it's just, I feel like I go against so many punishing magic defenses more than physical. And that magic res at double S is crazy. I actually kind of want to check. Is the Fall in Templar at double S for defense? I'm curious. It's weird though. Even my Templars are level 5. My Pharaohs are not. So they're just like kind of inverse of each other. They're both just beautiful for what they are. I'm going to give the Pharaoh Guard the bump, quite frankly, because I hate going against Ingrid. So we can do that.
That makes sense.
Okay, we got 2 left, and then my thumbnail. So now we got the UCD, the Uncommon Destroyer, our last gold of the day. Actually, I don't know why I didn't see them there. They're right here. You can see these guys are a gear raid 1 drop. I'm almost certain. I feel like these guys literally never drop. The Bookkeeper's also gear raid 1, but those drop much more frequently. Big AoE, big splashy AoE. It's actually in like a square. I think I can show you with the trick you told me about. No, I can't. Maybe if I click over here. No. It's like a square in front of them. Not that they're in the middle. It's like a square right in front of them. So they can really hit things even off to the diagonal, which is kind of unique. So if someone thinks they're being cute with like an arrogance off to the side, with not this map, but the last map, they're not being that cute. They look really cool. They have very nice defenses, but they magic damage slaps them around, which is kind of cool because we go against these guys in the game actually, and it's the same thing. They've got that heavy armor, and you do have to like blow them up with some kind of comet or something like that. Very expensive at 7 energy. They're the most expensive non-demon captain in the game. Only Ma is more expensive because I think even the Scalekin champion, I think it's only 5. Yeah, so they kind of stand alone in that way. Kind of slappers, pretty clunky, but pretty unique. What do you think of these guys?
Okay, so they do good damage, right? And if someone has let's say there for a while, the meta team was you have Baron, you have Torador, Arrogance, Hatsu, and then you also have, I don't know, maybe Carnelian or Lily or whoever.
They were so good against that Nightmare team because everyone stacked so tight. Yeah.
Correct. So on that strategy, they were really good, but they're slow. I don't like how they cost 7. The fact that they cost 7, I'd expect a little bit more damage. Yeah, they do good damage, but you expect them to slap a little harder because they cost so much. And they're really slow. But I guess since they do cost 7, them being slow is a good thing because then the other units can catch up to them. I don't know. I mean, outside of that,
I'll tell you, my whole thing with them, I feel like they're really like exist for whales. Like, because they get this increased magic res, which is like that's their big Achilles heel. They like kind of die unless there's no magic. But everyone usually has they've got some mix of damage. That's what you're trying to do, right?
Correct.
So they basically are like, can they kill fast enough? And like you said, until you've got them like level 3 or 4, if not way higher, they're really not slapping. So it's really like you got to get them level 5 so they exist enough. And like, who is getting them level 5? I farmed so much gear at 1. I'm not even close to level 4, right? So it's like getting these guys level 5 is crazy. I was talking to, I forget who it was, but it was someone in either Celestials Alpha or whatever the top one is, or even it was Immortal Elite, I can't remember. And like they hadn't even gotten at level 5, and that's like their whole life is farming this 1,000 times a day, gear at 1. So that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I think though, if you remember the season 5 map, I'll try to draw it here so you guys can see the one where you went like this and then up, and then they could put someone here pointed down, and then you go left. If you can remember that map. So people would use like Valkyria here or Ardia or something. They were so good for that because they would do that square all around them and kill everybody because they'd have a tank here and then they'd be here pointed down. So you could definitely see more maps in the future that they just dominate. They're actually not good on the maps in season 6 right now, but season 6 is about to end. I think I've got a pretty clear idea in my head. They're like a very similar idea to me as the Bookkeeper. I want them like right next to them. I'll let you decide, do they go above or below? But it's the same kind of thing. It's like if there's the right map, like they are such an answer. But they're definitely niche. They're not like these guys on top that are just like these unlocking everything. What do you think?
So I actually also had them at A, but I would probably put them below the maybe. I think either one would be fine, honestly.
I think gun to my head, I like them more the Bookkeeper, but I want to punish them because I feel like they're like very like pay to witty. Whereas the Bookkeeper, even at level 1, is kind of already doing his job if it's the right map.
Oh yeah, and the Bookkeeper and for the guilds that are like in the lower level, he's just absolutely overpowered.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, actually, I might. There's even an argument. What do you think? No, I was gonna say put below the Shadowcaster, but because he really scales so much later on is the thing. Anyway, let's wrap this up. It's been a nice long marathon together. Thank you for joining me. We got our very last one. It's the White Towers Scholar. I don't know why I can't speak. This guy's like an albino. He looks like the guy from the Da Vinci Code or whatever. He does ranged magic damage. Can we use your trick here? Yes, he's got that same range, and it's kind of the same story. These again, people are like, why don't you just use the mage? Like there's 2 of them. They're pretty cheap. It's like, yeah, but they're not going to prioritize the platform units. So pretty cool stuff. This passive here, the extra DPS is pretty spicy. You can see I already got these guys level 6. On my way to level 7. They're good. There was the one, or was it? I think it was only one map ago, season 5. You could like double stack rocks and then throw these guys right behind. So if the rocks didn't pick off, you could get the kill. That's the last time I used them. So I don't dislike them at all, but I do think they're like supremely niche, and I don't think we currently have such a use. They're not my favorite at all. So I don't know. I'd say right now these maps, I find them like unusable. What do you think? Maybe I've kind of
I kind
of told you what I was going to do.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree. I actually had them in my non-existent tier. There hasn't been too many strategies. Like even I don't know when they was released, but I never really got a chance to use them. I think I tried them like a couple times, and I was like, there's better demon soldiers than these. So I never really used them, and I don't really see people using them against me. So, yeah.
I'll tell you, I think they're like the top of meh. Like if you need them, you'll use them, but right now there's no like meta use for them. They're clearly not as bad as our Fs. They're not trash, but they're not much better than trash as it stands right now. You can't use them. Like I don't think anyone like if you had options, no one can use them right now as it stands.
Correct. And I mean C meh, and also, or was that D meh?
Yeah.
I think the D tier or the F tier, both really good tiers for them. Either one works for me.
That's so rude. You're either D or F. Those are both perfect for you.
one or the other.
Well, here we go. I think it's a pretty good looking list. I'm quite happy. We've got our 5 S tier booty clappers, and we work our way down from there to our 2, the Adag's Follower and the Scalekin Mage, just completely useless. I think if anyone had only 7 demon soldiers and those were 2 of them, you're using the other 5 every time.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, DrDeez. This is really fun, very marathon-y. Yes, please.
Wait. We forgot one last thing. You forgot the guy right behind you.
Oh my! You mean my thumbnail?
No. I'm just joking. Hey, but thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And, hopefully we could do this again sometime, but it's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Guys, I'm sure you enjoyed DrDeez's energy the whole time. His whole channel's like this, if not even better. It's a lot of fun. So please check it out. He's also doing some variety streaming on Twitch. I'll have all those links below. Maybe I'll have some stuff popping up on the screen right now as well. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you guys for watching. Share with your mother. I've been Fastidious. I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.
Hang on, sorry. There was a car going by that was super loud. So
Or how about this, DrDeez? I keep saying Deeks. that can go in the bloopers. I'm also just realizing there is no Pharaoh guard here. I forgot to make that one. I've got a surprise for you. Okay, so I've got good news. I quickly got the Pharaoh guard in here. Bad news. I accidentally misclicked, and we have an old Sung Wukong thumbnail as well.